Welcome to Holy Feet. This wonderful book, Sri Sai Satcharitra, was originally written in Marathi by Govind Raghunath Dabolkar. Sai Baba gave him the prophetic name Hemant Pant. Before going into this chapter, I want all my fellow devotees to please close your eyes, visualize Sri Sai Baba in front of you, and recite with me 3 times. ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। ॐ श्री साईनाथाय नमः। After offering our prayers with full love and devotion to Sri Sai Baba, let us get into this chapter. Chapter 1. In this chapter, we will be covering the various obeisances and the story of grinding wheat and its philosophical significance. According to the ancient and revered custom, Hemant Pant begins the work Sri Sai Satcharitra with various salutations. First, he makes obeisance to the god Ganesh to remove all obstacles and make the work a success, and says that Sri Sai is God Ganesh himself. God Ganesh, a son of Lord Shiva, bears the head of an elephant and the body of a human being. When starting anything, he is worshipped by the Hindu. Then to the goddess Saraswati to inspire him to write the work, and says that Sri Sai is one with this goddess and that he is himself singing his own life. Goddess Saraswati is goddess of learning. Then to the gods Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar, the creating, preserving and destroying deities respectively, and says that Sainath is one with them and he, the great teacher, will carry us across the river of worldly existence. Then to his tutelary deity Narayan Adinath, who manifested himself in Konkan, the land reclaimed by Parshuram from the sea, and to the Adi or original Purush of the family. Parshuram was one of the avatars or incarnation of God. He incarnated himself before Lord Ram. Then to Bharadwaj Muni, into whose Gotra or clan he was born, and also to various rishis, Yajnavalkas, Bhrigu, Parashar, Narad, Ved Vyas, Sanat, Snandan, Sanat Kumar, Shuka, Shaunak, Vishwamitra, Vashisht, Valmiki, Vamdev, Jamini, Vaishampayan, Navyogendra, etc. And also modern saints such as Nivruti, Gyandev, Sopan, Muktabai, Janardhan, Eknath, Namdev, Tukaram, Kanha and Narhari, etc. Then to his grandfather Sadashiv, father Raghunath, his mother who left him in his infancy, to his parental aunt who brought him up, and to his loving elder brother. Then to the readers and pray to them to give their whole and undivided attention to his work. And lastly to his Guru Sri Sainath, an incarnation of Sri Dattatreya, who is his sole refuge and who will make him realize that Brahma is the reality and the world an illusion, and incidentally to all beings in whom the Lord God dwells. After describing in brief the various modes of devotion according to Parashar, Vyas and Sandilya, etc., the author goes on to relate the following story. It was sometime after 1910 that I went one fine morning to the masjid in Shirdi to have darshan of Sai Baba. I was wonder-struck to see the following phenomenon. After washing his mouth and face, Sai Baba began to make preparation for grinding wheat. He spread a sack on the floor and thereon set a hand mill. He took some quantity of wheat in the winnowing fan and then, drawing up the sleeves of his kafni or robe and taking hold of the peg of the hand mill, started grinding the wheat by putting a few handfuls of wheat in the upper opening of the mill and rotated it. I thought, what business Baba had with the grinding of wheat when he possessed nothing and stored nothing, and as he lived on alms. Some people who had come there thought likewise, but none had the courage to ask Baba what he was doing. Immediately, this news of Baba grinding wheat spread into the village, and at once men and women ran to the masjid and flocked there to see Baba's act. Four bold women from the crowd forced their way up and pushing Baba aside, forcibly took the peg of handle into their hands and singing Baba's Leela started grinding. At first, Baba was enraged, but on seeing the women's love and devotion, he was much pleased and began to smile. While they were grinding, they began to think that Baba had no house, no property, no children, none to look after, and he lived on alms, and therefore he did not require any wheat flour for making bread or roti. What will he do of this large quantity of flour? Perhaps, as Baba is very kind, he will distribute the flour amongst us. Thinking in this way, and while singing, they finished the grinding, and after putting the handmill aside, they divided the flour into four portions and began to remove them by taking one portion per head. Baba, who was calm and quiet up till now, got wild and started abusing them, saying, "Ladies, have you gone mad? Whose father's property are you looting away? Have I borrowed any wheat from you so that you can safely take the flour? Now do this, take the flour and throw it on the village borders." On hearing this, the women felt abashed and whispering amongst themselves, went to the outskirts of the village and spread the flour as directed by Baba. I asked the Shirdi people, what was this that Baba did? They replied that as cholera epidemic was spreading in the village, this was Baba's remedy for the same. It was not wheat that was ground, but cholera itself was ground to pieces and pushed out of the village. From this time onwards, the cholera epidemic subsided and the people of village were happy. I was much pleased to know all this, but at the same time my curiosity was also aroused. I began to ask myself, what earthly connection was there between wheat flour and cholera? What was the casual relationship between the two and how to reconcile them? The incident seems to be inexplicable. I should write something on this and sing to my heart's content Baba's sweet Leelas. Thinking in this way about this Leela, my heart was filled with joy and I was thus inspired to write Baba's life, the Sai Satcharitra. And as we know, with Baba's grace and blessings, this work was successfully accomplished. Philosophical significance of grinding. Apart from the meaning which the people of Shirdi put on this incident of grinding wheat, there is, we think, a philosophical significance too. Baba lived in Shirdi for about 60 years, and during this long period he did the business of grinding almost every day. Not however wheat alone, but the sins, the mental and physical afflictions and the miseries of his innumerable devotees. The two stones of his mill consisted of karma and bhakti, the former being the lower one and the latter the upper one. The handle with which Baba worked the mill consisted of Gyan. It was the firm conviction of Baba that knowledge or self-realization is not possible unless there is the prior act of grinding of all our impulses, desires, sins, and of the three gunas, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and the Ahankar, which is so subtle and therefore so difficult to get rid of. This reminds us of a similar story of Kabir, who seeing a woman grinding corn said to his guru, Nipatti Rajan, I am weeping because I feel the agony of being crushed under this wheel of worldly existence, like the corn in the handmill. Nipatti Rajan replied, do not be afraid. Hold fast to the handle of knowledge of this mill as I do, and do not wander far away from the same, but turn inward to the center and you are sure to be saved. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Thank you for being with Holy Feet. Please subscribe to our channel